Morning, students. Today again we are going to discuss very important topic regarding the physiology, and specifically we are going to discuss at the extremes how the body is going to react normally. We have seen in detail the respiration physiology is normal, but in 2 or 3 sessions we are discussing this extreme level. So we have seen high altitude physiology, we have seen the effect of hypoxia, and now going up again, we are going to discuss in this particular session the space physiology. What we are going to see is the effect of travel by spacecraft, artificial climate, what it is, and what is the concept of weightlessness in the space, that is microgravity. So these are the things which we are going to discuss. Now in continuation, that this is the first person, Edmund Hillary, who climbed Mount Everest, and Bachengi Pal, who was the Indian mountaineer who became the first Indian woman to reach the summit of Mount Everest. Now, he was the first person after which the study of this high altitude physiology, the space physiology, has been started, and then it continued on till the Bachengi Pal, who was the first Indian mountaineer to reach the summit of Mount Everest. So after breaking all these records of Mount Everest, now it is we are seeing that there is a crowd, there's a dust, there's a dirt, there's a polythene issue there at the Mount Everest. So much so persons are going there. But forget about that issue. What we are going to discuss is only physiology. We are not talking on that particular topic, but these are the persons who inspired that we can do something else also. Then comes Sunita Williams, who is the Indian astronaut. She has a record of 7 spacewalks. So she's the Indian woman who has a record of 7 spacewalks. Followed by Kalpana Chawla, who lived her life for the dream. But very sadly, she was not with us due to the Columbia disaster. And the reason for that was piece of foam as a part of insulation that broke while entering the changing the atmosphere sphere part, and the Columbia space van, it blasted. And in that particular disaster, along with her space mates, Kalpana Chawla also lost her life. But these are the pioneers of Indian history that we can think of this also. So there are 2 parts. First is aviation physiology and the second is space physiology. I'm not going into details of the aviation physiology. If you're at all interested, you can go through again the books and find out how it is there. But definitely we have to think of this, and in some slides only I will be discussing this particular part. So aviation physiology, whenever you are thinking, you have to think of accelerating force. What are the effects of these forces on the body and how we can prevent it? If we are thinking of space physiology, as a doctor, what we have to think is, what are the effects of travel if a person is traveling in the spacecraft? How you can create an artificial climate which will be similar to the Earth's climate. So they can have, the astronauts can have the similar climate at that particular level also. And there is a concept which is known as weightlessness in the space. So we'll try to have this particular point. Many a times a small or short answer question is asked, and these questions are asked in the Viva also. It's not never asked as a long answer question. But apart from that, if anyone is interested in this particular field to study more, they are all open for the discussion. We can have a discussion whenever your physical college will start. I think it will be starting very soon. So coming to the accelerated force, what accelerated force is, it is a change in velocity, and that change in velocity creates some forces. And it is given by the formula mv square upon r. So the generated force can be measured by mv square upon r. So it is proportional to the square root of the velocity. It is proportional to the sharpness of the turn. So that is mv square is there. And it is inversely proportional to the radius. So These three factors, they will determine the accelerating force. Now, whatever scientists who are doing any research work in this particular field, they have to think of these physical factors and what these physical factors are going to do on the human body and how we can prevent it. So, throughout the world, the scientists are working on these concepts. Now, whenever the accelerating force is measured, the unit is given as G. And if a person is sitting in his seat equal to his particular weight, then the force is said to be 1G. If it is positive, then it is positive G, that is more towards the gravity. And if it is against gravity, then it is negative G. So these concepts you have to think. Now coming to what will happen if there is more than 1G pressure. So the gravitational force will be more. So effects of positive G. Now as you can think that so many systems are there, but if you have a gravitational pull more than 4 to 5 gravitational force, basically the liquid part of our body will be having major effects. And the major effect will be as such as expected is on circulation. So the blood will be pushed towards the lower parts as the gravitational pull is much more. And due to that, the upper part of the body will be having less circulation, less blood supply towards this particular area. So there will be graying of the field of vision and blackout, that is complete loss of vision. So in the center, there will be completely loss of vision, but it will be preliminary, there will be graying out of field of vision. So at the periphery, the person will be seeing gray color. And after some time, it will be complete loss of vision, which is known as blackout. Then a concept of G lock will occur if the force is more than 5G. So what it is loss of consciousness, LOC. So gravitational LOC. So that will be put forward, and then it can happen after loss of consciousness. There can be convergence, and the person can become unconscious. If the pressure is much more increased, say for example, it is more than 20 gravitational force, then there will be fractures of bone, including the spine. So this particular force cannot be now generated by the solid tissues also. So they will try to break up, and that creates the fracture of bones, including the spine. Coming to the effect of negative G. Now, if you have less gravitational force, the opposite effect generally are seen. The first effect is if the pressure is gravitational force is -4 to -6G, hyperemia can be seen. And this hyperemia is above the body parts. Upper half of the body will be having more circulation, that is termed as hyperemia. So blood circulation will be more, which can cause exudation inside the capillaries surrounding the brain, leading to brain edema, causing congestion, flushing of face, and leading to headache. If the pressure is more negative, say for example -15 to -20G, then there is severe headache, which will be followed by a red out. So it is just the opposite of blackout. So here the circulation in the upper part will be more, and due to that, all the blood supply will be to the upper part, the head and the brain part. So due to that, there will be blurring of vision, reddening of the visual fields, dilatation and congestion of the blood vessels in the head and eyes. And that leads to headache plus red out. So these are the cardinal signs. Along with that, the negative G also will have the issue of loss of consciousness. There is increase in the pressure in the blood vessels of chest and neck. So you have the more pressure in these particular areas. That can lead to bradycardia or irregular heartbeat. And due to hyperemia, there will be stagnation of blood in the head. So all the circulation, the major function of the circulation will be lost, and due to improper circulatory blood, there will be loss of consciousness. particularly it will be affecting the brain. So these will be the pressures which are generated at the acceleratory force. Now you can also have deceleratory forces, which is generally seen associated with parachute jumps. So the aviator, whenever he leaves the airplane, his velocity of fall will be as at first it is 0 feet per second. If it is after some times it will be 32 feet per second, then it goes on increasing, and at around 12 seconds it is 110 miles per hour. So that will be reaching the terminal velocity. So within 12 seconds, it can reach from 0 to 110 miles per hour. So this is the generally the parachute jumps aviators, they will be having all these things. There will be opening shock load up to 1200 pounds, which occurs when parachute is opened. So whenever it has a clutch over that, opening clip is there, and whenever it is opened, there is a shock load, and it is supposed to be around 1200 pounds. The speed of landing is about 20 feet per second, and that can cause damage to the body, resulting in fracture of its pelvis, vertebrae, or leg. The trained parachutist strikes the earth with knees bent, but muscles taut to cushion the shock of landing. So if you have seen the videos, you can very well see in these pictures also that these parachutists, to prevent this damage to the bones, they will bend the knees and but the muscles will be taut, so that the cushioning effect will be there, and the shock effect whenever they are landing will be minimized. I myself have experienced this particular parachute jump. Actually, it was not supposed to be because I am a disabled person, but still I wanted to do this particular thing and at less height, not from the flight, of course, but at less height. From that, I have done these parachute jumps. And of course, as I don't know whether I have to share it or not, but I had a fracture. But due to my problems, of course, I had a fracture because it was an improper landing. And generally, this shock is very much. So you have to be very careful while landing. So these are the accelerating forces and the decelerating forces that was related to aviation. Now coming to the artificial climate, which is present in the sealed spacecraft. So still we are doing so many, like there are experiments going on, there are expeditions going on. So we have known, now it is known that in India also is going or running so many expeditions. So there's this spacecraft and there's a sealed atmosphere. Now the scientists are going up and we have to create the artificial climate. So earlier there was only containing pure oxygen, but there was a likelihood of fire and explosion if it is only pure oxygen. So now these modern space shuttles, they will be having the combined combination of oxygen and nitrogen, so that there will be less likelihood of fire and explosion. So the first thing is the atmosphere which is there. So nowadays it is nitrogen in the mixture is added to the gases, the oxygen gases. And there is definitely a technique which is known as recycling technique to provide the oxygen continuously. So for recycling technique, you have the physical procedures like electrolysis of water, which releases oxygen. So it is continuously going on. And the second is biological methods such as use of algae in the spacecraft. So it will release the oxygen again. So that will be continuous provision of oxygen. So that is artificial climate. Now there is a concept, as we have discussed, that is there is a weightlessness in space. So this is known as microgravity or near zero G force. So zero G does not mean that it is a zero gravity. So there is a gravitational force, but the gravity acts on both the spacecraft and the person at the same time. And speed of the both is having a very large velocity. A huge tremendous velocity is there, And on both the factors, the spaceship also and the person also, the gravity is acting. And due to these combined factors, the near zero gravity phase is there, which is microgravity. And due to that factor, this particular condition, you can see here the weightlessness. So they are just flying inside. And this is known as microgravity. This also I have experienced when I visited 3 years back to London, and there they give an artificial climate sealed program is there in the Science Museum, and they allow us to use the space pressure suits, and they will allow to enter inside this artificial climate, and we can experience the weightlessness in space. But of course, again, it is a very dangerous experience. I was alone, so I was not able to click the photograph. So I can share these photographs. But if at all someone goes there, you can share all these photographs. So these are the normal things which we are doing now. But still there are challenges which we have to see. The physiological challenges, the first one is motion sickness. Due to the lack of gravitational signals, abnormal stimulation of vestibular apparatus will occur and there will be fluid shift, and this leads to motion sickness. This translocation of fluids will be occurring within the body because of, again, failure of gravity, and that to cause the normal hydrostatic pressure will be lost, and these fluids will be translocated. So whatever fluids within the body, they will be translocated. Diminished physical activity, as there's a near zero gravity, you don't have to work very hard. So activity will be diminished because no strength of muscle contraction is required to oppose the force of gravity. So normally why we are doing this tremendous contraction? Because we have to work against the gravity. But this gravity is near zero there. So the strength is lost. There will be diminished physical activity. And this leads to increased osteoclastic activity. And bones become weak. So these are the physiological challenges which we will have to face. How to prevent it? So nowadays, the space lab or spacecraft are stable, having stable and sophisticated environmental control system, and that maintains all the atmospheric factor close to Earth's environment. So now the scientists, they have done so much of research that similar to this, which like the environment on the Earth, the spacecraft or space lab is done. The launch and entry suits are there, and there are anti-gravitational suits, which are pressurized suits. That's what I was talking to you, that we can, I had this experience. And there are seats in an on-back angle for launch, and severe exercise program system. Around 2 years training program is there, of which the 6 months are devoted only to the exercise program. So all these physiological changes can be accommodated. So these are the pressure suits. Generally, they are followed anti-G suits. And this is the position which is given at the time of launch. So this is a particular position which is given at the time of launch. But due to prolonged exposure and weightlessness, there will be cardiovascular, muscle and bone deconditioning. So even if there are preventive measures, you have these particular things which you have to keep in mind, that after landing on the Earth, these persons will be suffering or maybe having these many problems. 1% of their bone mass each month will be lost. Atrophy of the cardiac and the skeletal muscles will be there. There is decreased work capacity, reduced blood volume, and very impaired baroreceptor reflexes. So I did not find the video, but I have watched personally this particular video that after landing these astronauts, they will have that after landing immediately, if they are keeping their leg or foot over the earth, they will be fallen down. Now, the cause of this is that they have impaired baroreceptor reflexes. So, generally, you must have seen that they are carried on the stretchers. So, in the lying down position, they will be allowed to go inside a deconditioning procedure is there, and after around 2 or 3 months of the conditioning, they are allowed to move normally also. So I don't know regarding the details how this deconditioning is done. These laws are there, but you can find out the answers for this. So these are the things which you have to remember if at all you want to become a doctor, which is further studies in the space research. So what solution we can give to prevent this? Whenever the person is traveling in the spacecraft, what they are asked to do is intermittent artificial gravity. So short periods, like 1 hour per day, and they will be allowed to go inside that artificial gravity. So there is a specially designed short arm where there is artificial gravity which is created. And these astronauts, they are asked to go intermittently 1 hour per day in that particular arm so that these deleterious effects can be minimized. These are the videos which are related. Like this, I don't think will be shared by me. But what we can do is this is one of the video. This is one of the video which is showing how it is possible to drink the water, and this is particular video which is showing different types of food which is allowed inside the spacecraft. So if you are interested, you can go through these particular videos. This while recording only, this is not sharing actually, so I'm not able to share. I can link again in a separate link these videos. So that was all regarding the discussion related to space physiology and aviation physiology. There were some very few things which are related, but this is a tremendous interesting field, which is attractive field. And of course, this is Elon Musk. You must have seen him at future space travel by that particular space shuttle. His dream. So SpaceX is the company by which he plans the space travel. So you might be traveling in the space. I don't know about me, but you might be traveling in the space in the near future. Then his first expedition, of course, he lost his first expedition. It was in vain, but after some times it will be possible. So I think that is all regarding this today's session. It was a small session. Those who are interested in this particular field can go through in the details. These extremes of physiology are not exam-oriented questions, but they are study-oriented questions. If at all you want to become something, some new things you want to know, then you can study this one. So thank you very much. This is a spacewalk photograph. These persons are working in the space, outside the space shuttle. So this is a spacewalk photograph. So thank you very much for kindly listening to this.